rights and fundamental rights. Here in this chapter, we are going to know what are human rights, not women, human rights and fundamental rights, which already you know, uh, which you studied in the previous classes. Somewhat you are known to this one, fundamental rights instead. So let us know that what are human rights. Before going to human rights, we should know what is meant by right. So here in previous chapters, we have studied various struggles of the people for achieving equality. After independence, there was different forms of discrimination in the society. Those all have not ended, that is vanished. Those are not removed completely. In 1947, our India got independence. After independence of India, there some kind of discriminations continued in India. Discrimination in the sense it is inequality. So the makers of the Indian Constitution, like B.R. Ambedkar, Gandhiji, Nehru, Babu Rajendra Prasad, so like these constitution makers, they know very well that these discriminations cannot be vanished, cannot be removed in a easy way. So the constitution makers have developed the constitution which could make laws, acts to merge, to meet the varying needs and goals of the society. In society, we find a different kind of people with different goals. So, in order to meet the goals of society, there the constitution makers have created certain laws. Constitution envisaged a society that is based on certain principles listed in the preamble you have studied in 8th class: socialist, secularism, equality, fraternity, justice. These are certain principles listed in the preamble. These principles should work out in a society. Constitution stated that Indian society should be based on those ideals given in the preamble. Any law which enforced by the parliament violating those principles of the preamble will be treated null. That means those laws which enact, which are those laws which come from the parliament violating the principles of a preamble are treated not valid. Okay, those will be struck down. That means those laws are going to be rejected which violates the principles listed in the preamble, right? So some of the important principles listed in the preamble you have studied in 8th class. Once recall those, and today we will see that what are rights. That means what is meant by right. Rights are reasonable claims of the person. What do you mean by reasonable? It means that every person have certain rights. Understand? So that is essential for the development of the people. So here, these rights of the people are protected by law. What are rights which are essential things to the people, right? For people development, rights are very important. For our all-round development, we need certain things. That is education. We want equal status in the society, right? We want respect from others, right? We want to enjoy our religious freedom. So certain rights we have, which comes by birth for our all-round development. So we call rights or reasonable claims of persons, and these rights have to be protected by law. Understand? So all of us want to live happily, right? Without with inferiority feeling, right? Everybody should enjoy what to call equal status. Instead, in the same manner, we also have responsibility on us to allow others to enjoy their rights as like us. How we want to enjoy our rights, in the same manner we have responsibility to allow others to enjoy their rights. So here one point you need to understand, that rights comes with responsibility. If you go depth of the right, you will understand rights are nothing but responsibilities. Understand? You have a right to enjoy, and how you have to enjoy, your enjoyment should not disturb others enjoyment. We have the rights to live happily. So our living happily should not disturb others. That is the right. In the sense, it is responsibility. So rights comes with responsibility to protect the rights and respect the rights of other persons as well. How do you want to get respect from other? We have to respect others. So rights comes with a responsibility. Instead, the concept of equal rights are changing in the society, which is changing. That means the concept of equal rights have been changing on. Once whatever the rights people enjoyed, today it is modified. Several new ideas, concepts are coming into the rights, and those are taken into account. So we have seen elsewhere that not everyone was treated equally all the time. In society, we see that at any of the movement, no, everyone was treated equally all the time. Not everyone was treated equally all the time in the society. Black people were traded as slaves. This we will see in colonialism in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. There, European people seized black people in Africa and transported to the America and Asia. There, they used black people as slaves, workers in the industries. That is a slave trade. So black people were not treated equally with the white people, especially European people. So black people did not enjoy equal rights with the white people in those days. Women were not given the right to property once upon a time. In the property of parents, we see that after the father, property is going to be enjoyed by the son. There is no right to daughter to get a share in the property of father. But today it is recognized that women should be given equal share in the right of property of their parents. So today we would consider these as unjust. That was what is unjust, what is unfair, that not giving right to the daughters in the property of parents. Understand? So once this was not treated as inequality, but in this modern period it is recognized as inequality, that women what women was not enjoying right to property instead. So today we would consider these as unjust, unfair, and a violation of that people's rights instead. So rights also become significant in the concept of democratic system. Democracy is a government we see there everybody enjoy their development and equal status. So democracy is the best form of government we have seen. In democratic systems, strive to preserve, that means to protect equal ground for all. In democracy only we find that democracy is struggling to provide equality for all. We do not find anywhere struggle for equality for all other than the democratic system. So in democratic system we see that they allow people to express their opinion. We have studied in the feudal system, feudal lords did not allow the peasants to enjoy. In kingship, we had seen that a king ruled with a dictatorship, not allowing the people to express their opinion and their choices. But in democracy, we find every individual is allowed to express his opinion and make a choice. Today we are criticizing the government activities which we feel that are not correct, right? So we are criticizing certain policies of the government by taking rallies, hartals, demonstrating, by conducting public meeting. That means people have freedom to express their opinion and give their choice, right? And here the people are given the right, that what right, choice of being represented by people. There in democracy only we find people enjoying their rights. In democracy we see that people are given a choice. What is that choice? We call vote. Okay, we all have right to vote, through which we can what to call elect our representative, right? That is the power of vote instead. So we have a choice that is called vote. Vote is there in our hand. Our vote can make government and destroy the government, right? So it is in our hand. to whom we have to give power to rule us. That means this is a very important weapon constitution given to us. We have to use in a right manner that right to vote. So right to vote is there to people to express their choice. So in democracy we find that people enjoying their right, that is right to vote, in uh, electing their representatives. Understand? And another thing is that democracy also safeguards what to call minority rights, right? It also gives priority to the minorities. We find along with the majority people, there is recognition to the minorities. Democracies place all people at equal status, whether majority people or minority people, right? We have seen in Belgium, right? In the example of Belgium, we have seen minority people and majority people are placed at the same position in democracy. So majority people and minority people will enjoy equal status in democracy, right? Our Indian constitution ensures that each person's rights and what to call that each person in Indian constitution guarantees to every individual to enjoy his rights, right? Irrespective of the caste, race, gender, religion, creed, everyone, everyone's right is protected. That means it is Hindus or Christians or Muslims or Sikh, whatever it may be, whether it is male, female, or another, right? Whether it is what to call the race, the caste, understand? So, caste, race, gender, religion, and creed, everyone's right is protected. So, in democracy only, we find every individual enjoying equality and living happily with his rights. Understand? So, however, these are there are some rights which are very fundamental, that is very basic for the all-round development of the people. Just now I stated right to live, right to what to call follow the religion which they have interest. So certain rights are very basic, very fundamental, which are needed for the all-round development of the people. If those rights are separated, there won't be development of the people. Those are very fundamental. That is right against exploitation, right to freedom, hmm? Right to freedom of religion, then right to equality. Like these certain rights are very essential, so fundamental. Without those rights, there is no development of any individual. That what we call, which are so fundamental to personhood. So certain rights are very basic and fundamental, which are essential for the all-round development of the people. Those basic rights are recognized by the constitution makers and incorporated into the constitution as fundamental rights by giving what to call a status instead. So which are very essential to the people. Those rights are given to the people in the form of fundamental rights, which have been given statutory and guaranteed in the constitution. That means constitution guarantees fundamental rights to every individual, right? Violation to the fundamental rights is violation to the constitution. So there is no right to anyone, even to the government, to violate our fundamental rights. And these fundamental rights are very important for all-round development of the people. Understand? So let us see that the rights are so important that they are also expressed by many of the democratic nations. Today, whatever the fundamental rights we have, those rights are recognized by many of the democratic nations in the world, and those rights all over the world codified. Codified means identified by United Nations organization and placed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is in short UDHR. What it is? UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This is what to call a document. UDHR is a document which is what to call prepared by UNO. To this document, many of the democratic states have signed it. Understand? Our India also what is signatory to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So that in December we see that 10th December, every year 10th December is maintained as a Human Rights Day, because on the day United Nations organization have declared certain rights very fundamental for all people as human rights. So what do you see here? It is fundamental rights which are enshrined in our constitution. Once look at these rights and go on reading it. Okay, what are those? It is what given here: right to freedom. Here it is there, right to freedom. The next is right to equality is here, right to freedom, right to freedom of religion. Then next is what to call a right against exploitation. Then right to education and cultural right. This is, look at here, right against exploitation, right to education and culture, right to constitutional remedies. These all are called fundamental rights. In all these fundamental rights, right to constitutional remedies. This is very important right. When there is violation to our fundamental rights, we can fight for our fundamental rights by using right to constitutional remedies. This helps us to fight for our rights. If somebody is giving trouble to your rights, then how do you get your rights secured one? We need to go to the court to get our rights. So which one allows you to go to right to protect your rights? That is right to constitutional remedies. So among all these rights, which one? Right to constitutional remedies. It is very important right. Understand? So fundamental rights are enshrined in the constitution at third part. Okay, in the third part we have fundamental rights. Understand? So let us see these rights, what to call each and every one in detail in the next class. Okay, as